What's up, people? Thank you as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. All right, where do we start? Where do we start? I don't know. All right, let's start with the fact that 3 years ago, KELL BROOK was the IBF welterweight champion, arguably a top 347-pound fighter in, I think, the deepest and richest division in boxing, right? At the time, probably still is. But at the time, it was definitely the deepest and richest division in boxing. Let's fast forward 3 years, and KELL BROOK is fighting a no-name in a half-filled Sheffield arena. In 3 years, that's happened. I've been watching KELL BROOK British title days, even just before that, in fact. So I've been watching KELL BROOK, I'd say now, for the last 10 years, probably, 10 years. No, yeah, 10 years, 8, 9, 10 years. That was his worst performance. Given what was at stake, and we'll talk about that in a minute, that was his worst performance. He looked flat, he looked short of ideas, his jab, which is normally one of his best punches. I've always said that KELL BROOK and George Groves, when they're on their peak, so when they're firing on all cylinders, have the best jabs in British boxing. His jab wasn't there. There didn't look to be any spite on his punches. That's normally his get out card, no spite on the punches. There didn't look to be a game plan. You know, I was trying to listen into his corner to see any advice, any tactical advice. Didn't hear shit. Didn't hear shit, to be honest. In fact, I think around 11 and 12, I actually think his corner almost said something along the lines of, I don't know, like, just be careful. Like, don't give this kid any chances. And I was thinking, this is what it's got to now. It was just poor. Everything was just poor. The whole fight card was poor. The arena sounded flat. It was just bad. Right? It was just shockingly bad. But for KELL BROOK, it's more than that. It's more than just being bad. It's now a case of, I have no idea what I'm doing next. I don't know what KELL BROOK's going to do next. I actually have no idea what he's going to do next. Park Amir Khan for a second. That fight ain't happening. And if I'm Amir Khan watching that fight, nothing to be really scared of, if I'm honest with you. KELL BROOK looked like a guy yesterday that had left every single thing in his training camp. Right, you hear fighters say this all the time about overtraining. KELL BROOK looked like a guy that overtrained. I don't know what this thing about coming down to 150 pounds was about. I mean, you signed up to a 154-pound fight, just coming at 154. Coming at 154, you looked flat as fuck at 150, which really raises the question of if you can even get to 147. Watching that fight, KELL BROOK at 147 is going to be flat as fuck. I just don't think he can make the weight anymore. And if he can't make 147, then he's in trouble. Because the 154 guys will eat him alive. Those 154 guys like Hurd and Charlo are really 160, 168 guys just masquerading at 154. They will eat him alive. He's got a problem. He has a huge problem. He really does. I want to use an excuse for KELL and say, oh, he just underestimated his opponent. I want to do it, but I can't. I can't, because the elite, so-called elite fighters find a way. They find a way to get rid of their opponents when it gets close like that. They kind of just go up a couple more gears and start working through stuff. And KELL just didn't know how to do that. I didn't see any combinations. I didn't see much body work. It was just fucking flat. It was flat as it can get. He is with a new trainer, and sometimes working on different tactics and all this can take its time, but nah. Not when you're fighting a guy 2 or 3 tiers below you. Nah, you're supposed to get rid of those kids. You're supposed to get rid of those kids. The more concerning thing for KELL going forward is the fans, right? The fans just didn't give a shit about that fight last night. I mean, there's a lot of talk in the build-up about this being KELL's last fight at Sheffield, and you'll think that the fans would turn up, right? This is their last chance to see, I dare say, their hero in Sheffield turn up and watch the fight. I know tickets are being given away for pennies towards the end. It was half empty. It was half empty. The fans have decided, you know what? We're tired of this. We're tired of this shit. We're tired of you fighting lackluster opponents, no-named opponents, when there's top guys out there in both divisions, 147 and 154. Remember, KELL is now in both divisions. So he's got at least 15 names at 147 and at least 10 to 15 names at 154. And yet we get that opponent yesterday, and that's the performance you put on. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. I've looked on Twitter and some people are saying things like, you know what, he got the win. Shut the fuck up. It's not about the win at this stage of your career. It's about the performance. You need a crazy good performance for us to start talking about these other fights, Right now, we're just not excited. Right now, who really is interested in what next for Kell Brook? I'm not. And I'm a big fan of Kell Brook. I'm not interested. So Kell Brook has problems. Like, I don't think he can make 147, or at least I don't think he can look good in the ring at 147. And at 154, he's a dead man walking. He's a dead man walking at 154. Weren't this a final eliminator for Hurd's title? Oh, God. Kell Brook versus Jared Hurd. Forget it. Please, don't make it happen. Knowing Eddie, he'll probably make it happen. He chucked fucking Kell Brook in with Gennady Golovkin. So, yeah, he'll probably make Jared Hurd Kell Brook, because that's just what he does. And that's just how he's managed Kell Brook's career.